It was a bitterly cold November night when Claire found herself standing on the deserted platform of the old Oak Hollow train station. She had missed the earlier train, and the next and last train of the night wasn't due for another 30 minutes. The platform was eerily quiet. The only sound was the rustling of leaves carried by the icy wind. Claire pulled her coat tighter around her and checked her phone. No service. Typical. As she looked around, she noticed something strange. The station's old wooden bench had initials carved into it, surrounded by deep scratches. They looked too deliberate to be from wear and tear. She shivered and glanced away. A faint sound caught her attention, footsteps. She turned quickly, but no one was there. Her breath fogged in the freezing air, her heartbeat quickening. The footsteps started again, louder this time, echoing from the shadows at the far end of the platform. "Hello?" Claire called out, her voice trembling. Silence. She clutched her bag and took a step back. Suddenly, a man appeared from the shadows. He was tall and thin, wearing a suit that seemed decades out of style, and his face was pale, too pale. "Waiting for the train?" he asked, his voice soft but oddly hollow. Claire nodded hesitantly. "Yes, the last train." The man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "The last train," he echoed. "It's always the most interesting." Claire's stomach churned. "Are you taking it too?" The man chuckled lightly. "Oh, no. I'm just here to see who boards tonight." Before she could reply, the sound of the train's whistle pierced the air. Claire turned toward the tracks, relieved to see the headlights of the oncoming train. When she turned back to the man, he was gone. The train screeched to a halt, and its doors hissed open. Claire hesitated. Something felt off. Peering inside, she saw the passengers, all seated silently. They were unnervingly still, their faces pale and blank, their eyes staring straight ahead. Her instincts screamed at her to stay on the platform, but the cold was biting, and the thought of spending the night alone at the station was unbearable. She stepped onto the train. As the doors slid shut behind her, the lights flickered, and the train jerked forward. Claire found an empty seat near the back, trying not to look too closely at the other passengers. The man from the platform suddenly appeared in the seat across from her, smiling that same hollow smile. "I told you," he said, leaning in. "The last train is always the most interesting." Claire's blood ran cold as she realized the other passengers weren't just pale, they weren't breathing. She turned to the window, only to see the train wasn't traveling through Oak Hollow anymore. Outside there was nothing but darkness, and it was getting darker inside too.